Okay, welcome. This is Try Hack Me. Today we're going to go over John the Ripper. Learn how to use John the Ripper, an extremely powerful and adaptable hash cracking tool. Okay, John the Ripper is one of the most well-known, well-loved, and versatile hash cracking tools out there. It's combined a fast cracking speed with an extraordinary range of compatible hash type. This room will assume no previous knowledge, so we must first cover some basic terms and concepts before we move into practical hash cracking. Some of you may know I'm also a beginner and I have no knowledge, so this is my first time using John the Ripper. Okay, what are hashes? A hash is a way of taking a piece of data of any length and representing it in another form that is fixed length. This masks the original value of the data. This is done by running the original data through a hashing algorithm. There are many popular hashing algorithms such as MD4, MD5 SHA, and NTLM. Let's try and show this with an example. If we take Polo, a string of 4 characters, and run it through an MD5 hashing algorithm, we'll end up with an output of, and I'll just highlight it, so this will be the output of the MD5, a standard 32 character MD5 hash. So this is our hash. Likewise, if we take Polo mints, a string of 9 characters, and run it through the same MD5 hashing algorithm, we end up with an output, and this is the hash, another standard 32 character MD5 hash. Okay, so what makes hashes secure? Hashing algorithms are designed so that they only operate one way. This means that a calculated hash cannot be reversed using just the output given. This ties back to a fundamental mathematical problem known as the P versus NP relationship. There's a link here if you'd like to know more. While this is extremely interesting mathematical concept that proves fundamental to computing and cryptography, I am in no way qualified to try and explain it in details here. But abstractly, it means that the algorithm to hash the value will be NP and can therefore be calculated reasonably. However, an unhashing algorithm would be P and intractable to solve, meaning that it cannot be computed in a reasonable time using standard computers. Okay, where John comes in. Even though the algorithm itself is not feasibly reversible, that doesn't mean that cracking the hashes is impossible. If you have the hash version of a password, for example, and you know the hashing algorithm, you can use the hashing algorithm to hash a large number of words called a dictionary. You can then compare these hashes to one you're trying to crack to see if any of them match. If they do, you now know what word corresponds to that hash. You've cracked it. This is called a dictionary attack, and John the Ripper, or John as it commonly shortened to, is a tool to allow you to conduct fast brute force attacks on a large array of different hash type. For more in-depth material on specific hashing and encryption methods, I recommend checking out, and this is another room if you want to check it out. It's an amazing room covering these topics. Okay? Answer the following questions. We have read and understand the basic concepts of hashing and hash cracking. And we completed task 1. Okay, task 2, setting up John the Ripper. John the Ripper is supported on many different OS, not just Linux distributions. As a note before we go through this, there are multiple versions of John, the standard core distribution, as well as multiple community editions, which extend the feature set of the original John distribution. The most popular of these distributions is the Jumbo John, which we'll be using specific features of later. Okay, Parrots, Kali, and AttackBox. If you're using Parrot OS, Kali Linux, or TryHackMe owns AttackBox, you should already have Jumbo John installed. You could double check by typing John. Okay, so I have my machine loading. I believe we're up. Let's see if we have that installed. So we'll go to our terminal and let's type in John. And yep, we have it. So here are all our options and our password file. So we could skip this. If you don't have this installed, this is your command. Okay, we're not using Black Arch, but if you are using Black Arch, here's how you install it. Building from source for Linux. If you wish to build the package from the source to meet your system requirements, you can do this in 5 straightforward steps. Okay, so I guess we could skip all this since we're gonna be using the attack box, and we'll just go here to install Jumbo. Okay, Windows, we could skip this. Okay, so what is the most popular extended version of John the Ripper? Okay, so to answer that question, we will go here. The most popular of these distribution is the Jumbo John, which we'll be using specific features of later. So let's take Jumbo John and let's type it in, Jumbo John, and we'll submit. And that completes task 2. Okay, task 3, word list. As we explained in the first task, in order to dictionary attack hashes, you need a list of words that you can hash and compare. Unsurprisingly, this is called a word list. There are many different word lists out there. A good collection to use can be found in the SecList repository. There are a few places you can look for word lists on your attacking system of choice. We will quickly run through where you can find them. Okay, so on Paracali and TrackHackMe box, you can find these. You can find a series of amazing word lists in this directory. So let's go to that and ensure that we have it. USR share word list. And there we go. As you can see, we have a set of word lists. Okay, RockU for all of the tasks in this room will be using the infamous RockU TXT word list, which is a very large common password word list obtained from a data breach on a website called rocku.com in 2009. If you are not using any of the above distributions, you can get the RockU text word list from the SecList repository under the password leak database subsection. You may need to extract it from the tar you're using. Okay, so it's not necessary. I see we have it here. Okay, now that we have our hash cracker and word list all set up, let's move on to some hash cracking. First, the only question: what website was the RockU text word list created from a breach on? Okay, and we have it here, the website called rocku.com. So let's type rocku.com and submit, and fantastic. Task 4, cracking basic hashes. There are multiple ways to use John the Ripper to crack simple hashes. We're going to walk through a few before moving on to cracking some ourselves. Now, please note you have to download the text files. I already did. I have it right here on my root folder. Okay, so now let's go to this. The basic syntax of John the Ripper commands is as follows. We will cover the specific options and modifiers used as we use them. Okay, so here we go. We have this, and this. Automatic cracking. John has built-in features to detect what type of hash is being given and to select appropriate rules and formats to crack it for you. This isn't always the best idea, as it can be unreliable, but if you can identify what hash type you're working with and just want to try cracking it, it can be a good option to do this. We'll use the following syntax. So here are syntax and identifying hashes. Sometimes John won't play nicely with automatically recognizing and loading hashing. That's okay. We're able to use other tools to identify the hash and then set John to use a specific format. There are multiple ways to do this, such as an online hash identifier like this one. You can click on it. I like to use a tool called Hash Identifier, Python tools that is super easy to use and will tell you what different type of hashes the one you enter is likely to be, giving you more options if the first one fails. And here we have a GitHub and we launch it using a Python. Okay, and finally, once you identify the hash you're dealing with, you can tell John to use it while cracking the provided hash using this syntax, then we format and we format. Okay, ain't no on formats. When you're telling John to use formats, if you're dealing with a standard hash type, for example, MD5 as is in the example above, you have to prefix it with raw to tell John you're just dealing with a standard hash type, though it doesn't always apply to. Check if you need to add the prefix or not. You can list all of the John's format using these commands and either check manually or grep your hash by typing using something like this right here. Okay, so now let's get to cracking these hashes. Download the attached text file. Okay, so let's begin. Okay, so we open our zip file, first tag hash, and the first one. So this is the hash. What type of hash is hash 1? Okay, so we have the hash here. If we go, they gave us some website hash identifier. We want to identify this hash. Okay, hash identifier. No, this is not it. Let's go back. This is the one I want. So if we copy this and we bring it over here. Nope, we have to bring it into our clipboard. Let's copy this. Submit query. And possible algorithm is MD5. Let's see if MD5 is correct. And that is correct. Okay, let's go to the second one. So we could close this. Second one. Hash 2. No, hash 1. We're still on the first one. Sorry about that. What is the cracked value of hash? So let's just, I should already have it here. We want to know what is the crack, not the hash value, the crack value. We already know is an MD5. So for this, we need our terminal. Okay. So this is the specific format for cracking. So let's put John format equals raw, and it's a MD5. Then we do the word list equals. Now we gotta input the path to word list. Path to word list. So this is our path to word list. Let's copy this, path to word list. Let's copy. I don't have a pound, no, / that. And we're using rock u txt, and now we have to put the path to the file. Okay, so it should, let's just to make it easier. You know what? No, there's one. So I have it on my root. So no. Root hash 1.txt. Let's see if this works. Okay. Okay, so what was it asking us? What is the cracked value? Let's see what we have here. No open port. Okay. So I believe it's this biscuit. Let's type that in. biscuit. That is correct. Okay. Let's go to number 2 now. What type of hash is hash 2? So we'll do the same thing. Let's grab hash 2. Let's copy it. Copy. 187. Okay, yeah, that's it. Let's copy, and we're gonna bring it here. Search again. Let's paste it. Submit. This is a SHA-1. So let's go back here. What's going on? SHA-1. And that is correct. Now, what is the crack value of hash 2? So we'll go back. Let's copy this. I should already have it copied on my clipboard. Let's open our terminal. Let's move this out the way. Now, what I'm gonna do is just hit the up key. And hash 2. Oh, and let's not forget that now this is a SHA-1 file. And what is the crack value? I have kangaroo. Let's see if that is it. Kangaroo. Correct. Now let's go to type 3. What type of hash is hash 3 text? Okay, so let's go here. Let's just have, you know what? Let's just bring all of them to root. So I think we're gonna be doing the same process again. So now what type of hash is hash 3? Let's get hash 3. Let's copy all this. Let's copy. Clipboard. Let's go to my identifier. Let's search again. We'll paste, submit, and identify. So now we got SHA-256. SHA-256. Let's submit. And that is correct. Now what is the crack value? So let's try again. On our terminal, let's remove this. Okay. So if we just do 3 here. Our format is SHA-256. SHA-256. We have microphone. Let's type in microphone. And that seemed to work. Okay, so we'll do hash 4 now. What type is hash 4? Let's go to hash 4. Okay, this is longer. Let's copy everything. Let's see what we have on our clipboard. Oh, this is very long. So let's copy that. Let's search again and see if we can identify. So we'll submit and identify. Possible identification. Colossal. Possible algorithm whirlpool. Let's see. Okay. Possible whirlpool. Let's try whirlpool. Whirlpool. Will that work? That is correct. Okay, now what is the crack value of hash 4 text? So let's try again. Let me see what happens if we repeat the same process. We have whirlpool. Cool. Unknown chipper text format name requested. Okay. Let's see the hint. What does it say? You won't need the raw prefix for this one. Okay. So I do have the raw prefix here. Let's see if we run it again without the raw prefix. And let's just do whirlpool. What happens? Okay, looks like we have something. Colossal. Let's see that. COLOSSAL. Submit. Okay, so that worked. And what is interesting, I also noticed when we ran it here, we had the value here, colossal. So there's two ways. We just did an extra step. Okay, let's move along. Cracking Windows authentication hashes. There's a file here, download text file. I already have it here. It's a text. Okay. Cracking Windows hashes. Now that we understand the basic syntax and usage of John the Ripper, let's move on to cracking something a little bit more difficult. Something that you may even want to attempt if you're on a real penetration test or red team engagement. Authentication hashes are the hash version of passwords that are stored by operating system. It is sometimes possible to crack them using the brute force method that we're using. To get your hands on these hashes, you must often already be a privileged user. So we will explain some of these hashes that we plan on cracking as we attempt them. Okay, so we're doing NT hash and NTLM /NTLM. NT hash is the hash format that modern Windows OS machines will store users and service password in. It's also commonly referred to as NTLM, which reference the previous version of Windows format for hashing password using known as LM, thus NTLM. Okay, a little bit of the history. The NT designation for Windows product originally meant new technology and was used starting Windows NT to denote products that were not built up from the MS-DOS operating system. Eventually, the NT line became the standard operating system type to be released by Microsoft, and the name was dropped, but it still lives on in the name and in the names of some Microsoft technologies. You can acquire NT hash, NTLM hashes by dumping the SAM database on a Windows machine by using a tool like Mimikatz or from the Active Directory database. You may not have to crack the hash to continue privilege escalations, and you can often conduct a pass the hash attack instead. But sometimes hash cracking is a viable option if there is a weak password policy. Okay, practical. Now that you have the theory behind it, see if you can use the technique we practiced in the last task and the knowledge of what type of hash this is to crack the NTML text file. Okay, so I clear my screen and I need to find the format. So we want to use NTLM. So this is the command I used. John list equal formats, and then we're gonna grep if NTLM. Press enter, and we're looking for is this NT. So if we hit NT, that is the correct answer. Okay, what is the crack value of this password? Okay, so it should be on the same that we were using before, but we'll modify it a bit. So now the format we know is NT. So let's get whirlpool out, and we'll do NT. We have the path, wordlist, US share, yup. Oh, US share, and then here we just remove #4 and we do NTLM. So this is the path of the hash, and we complete it. And I see here mushroom. Let's type in mushroom. Let's submit, and that is the correct answer. Okay, task 6, cracking etc shadow hashes. Okay, so I downloaded the file. You have to download a file. It's only one file. The etc shadow file is the file on Unix machines where password hashes are stored. It also stores other information such as the date of last password change and password expiration information. It contains one entry per line for each user or user account of the system. This file is usually only accessible by the root user, so in order to get your hands on the hashes, you must have sufficient privileges. But if you do, there is a chance that you will be able to crack some of the hashes. Okay, unshadowing. Let's see what unshadowing is about. John can be very particular about the format it needs data to be able to work with. For this reason, in order to crack etc shadow password, you must combine it with etc password file in order for John to understand the data it is being given. To do this, we use a tool built into the John suite of tools called unshadow. The basic syntax of unshadow is as follows. Okay, so here are syntax: unshadow, path to password, and path to shadow. Invoke. File contains the copy of the etc password, and obviously files contains the copy of the etc shadow. Files you taken from the target machine. Okay, so this is an example. Okay, and here are more examples. File local and local shadow. Okay, local shadow. Okay, cracking. We're then able to feed the output from unshadow in our example, as we call the unshadowed text, directly into John. We should not need to specify the mode here, as we made the input specifically for John. However, in some cases you will need to specify the format, as we have done previously. Okay, so the format, and this is the syntax. Okay, now see if you can follow the process to crack the password hash of the root user that is provided in the etc. Okay, so let's take a look at the etc, what I have here. Okay, so I have a hash here. Let's put this bigger. Okay, what is the root password? Okay, so we have a syntax here. Let's grab this. Let's copy this. We'll paste it. Okay, word list. This is our word list. Format SHA script. And here, I think all we have to do is remove this. It's on our root, and the name of the file is etc hashes. I believe this should work, so let's give this a whirl. Let's copy. Let's minimize. Let's move this out the way. Where's my terminal? Oh. Okay, I can't find my terminal now. Here we go. Let's see. Load it. What is the root password? Wow, look at that. So I have root right here. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. Let's submit. And that worked. Okay, so now we're in task 7, single crack mode. Single crack mode. And before we move forward, please remember to download the text file. I have it here. It's #7. So let's move along. So far, we've been using John's wordlist mode to deal with brute forcing simple and not so simple hashes. But John also has another mode called single crack mode. In this mode, John uses the only information provided in the username to try and work out possible password, heuristically by slightly changing the letters and numbers contained within the username. Word mangling, the best way to show what single crack mode is And what word mangling is to actually go through an example. If we take the username Marcus, some possible password could be Marcus123 and etc. etc. Okay. This technique is called mangling. John is building its own dictionary based on the information that it has been fed and uses a set of rules called mangling rules, which define how it can mutate the word it started with to generate a word list based off of relevant factors for the target you're trying to crack. This is exploiting how poor passwords can be based off on information about the username or the service they're logging into. Geckos. John's implementation of word mangling also features compatibility with the geckos field of the Unix operating system and other Unix like operating systems such as Linux. So what are geckos? Remember in the last tags where we were looking at the entries of both etc shadow and etc password? Well, if you look closely, you can see that each field is separated by a colon. Each one of these fields that these records are split into are called gecko fields. John can take information stored in those records, such as full name and home directory name, to add into the word list it generates when cracking etc shadow hashes with single crack mode. Okay, so let's see how we use single crack mode. To use single crack mode, we use roughly the same syntax that we used so far. If we wanted to crack the password of the username Mike using single mode, we use, okay, this is the syntax, single, very similar. Put the format here and then the path to file. And this flag lets John know you want to use it single hash cracking mode. Okay, so single crack. Okay, this is an example. A note on file formats in single crack mode. If you're cracking hash in single crack mode, you need to change the file format that you're feeding John for it to understand what data to create a word list from. You do this by pretending the hash with the username that the hash belongs to. So according to the above sample, we could change the file hashes to, okay. All right, so let's do this. Now you're familiar with the syntax. Download the attached hash and crack it. Assume that the user it belongs to is called Joker. Okay, so I think this is gonna be 2 steps. So let's get the hash. So this is the hash, we copy it. Let's identify what type of hash it is. Oh, let's search again. We go here, submit and identify. Okay, MD5, oh look at that, Joker. Possible algorithm. Okay. So we know it's an MD5, so let's go back here. And I see here they said Mike dash, so let's edit this file. We said Joker. Is it, yeah, so let's put capital letters, Joker colon. And okay, I believe that's it. We went from this to this. Let's save file, save. Let's minimize this. Let's get back to this. So you know what, I'll type it out. So we're gonna do John single, because it's single crack mode. Format is, I remember we had to do raw. Is it 1-? Yeah, 1-MD5. And now the path to file is root. And no root, yep. And we're doing hash 7.txt. And that went through. And we have Joker. Okay, so JOK3R. Submit, and that is correct. And I also noticed here when we did the identifier, it gave us the password. So we did 2 steps, so it's good to know that we could always get the password from the identifier. Okay, so now we're in tag 7, single crack mode. Single crack mode. And before we move forward, please remember to download the text file. I have it here. It's #7. So let's move along. So far, we've been using John's wordlist mode to deal with brute forcing simple and not so simple hashes. But John also has another mode called single crack mode. In this mode, John uses the only information provided in the username to try and work out possible password, heuristically by slightly changing the letters and numbers contained within the username. Word mangling, the best way to show what single crack mode is and what word mangling is to actually go through an example. If we take the username Marcus, some possible password could be Marcus123 and etc. Okay. This technique is called mangling. John is building its own dictionary based on the information that it has been fed and uses a set of rules called mangling rules, which define how it can mutate the word it started with to generate a word list based off of relevant factors for the target you're trying to crack. This is exploiting how poor passwords can be based off on information about the username or the service they're logging into. Geckos. John's implementation of word mangling also features compatibility with the geckos field of the Unix operating system and other Unix-like operating systems such as Linux. So what are geckos? Remember in the last tags where we were looking at the entries of both etc shadow and etc password? Well, if you look closely, you can see that each field is separated by a colon. Each one of these fields that these records are split into are called gecko fields. John can take information stored in those records, such as full name and home directory name, to add into the word list it generates when cracking etc shadow hashes with single crack mode. Okay, so let's see how we use single crack mode. To use single crack mode, we use roughly the same syntax that we used so far. If we wanted to crack the password of the username Mike using single mode, we use, okay, this is the syntax, single, very similar. Put the format here and then the path to file. And this flag lets John know you want to use it single hash cracking mode. Okay, so single crack, okay. This is an example, a note on file formats in single crack mode. If you're cracking hash in single crack mode, you need to change the file format that you're feeding John for it to understand what data to create a word list from. You do this by pretending the hash with the username that the hash belongs to. So according to the above sample, we could change the file hashes to, okay. Alright, so let's do this. Now you're familiar with the syntax. Download the attached hash and crack it. Assume that the user it belongs to is called Joker. Okay, so I think this is gonna be 2 steps. So let's get the hash. So this is the hash. We copy it. Let's identify what type of hash it is. Oh, let's search again. We go here. Submit and identify. Okay, MD5. Oh, look at that. Joker. Possible algorithm. Okay. So we know it's an MD5. So let's go back here. And I see here they said Mike dash. So let's edit this file. We said Joker. Is it? Yeah, so let's put capital letters. Joker. Colon. And okay, I believe that's it. We went from this to this. Let's save. File. Save. Let's minimize this. Let's get back to this. So you know what, I'll type it out. So we're gonna do John single, because it's single crack mode. Format is, I remember we had to do raw. Is it 1 dash? Yeah, 1 dash MD5. And now the path to file is root and no root, yo, and we're doing hash 7.txt, and that went through. And we have Joker. Okay, so JOK3R, submit, and that is correct. And I also noticed here when we did the identifier, it gave us the password. So we did 2 steps, so it's good to know that we could always get the password from the identifier. Okay, so now we're in task 9, cracking password protected zip file. Yes, you read that right. We can use John to crack the password on protected zip files. Okay, so let's just breeze through this. I downloaded the task file. I have it here. It's a secure zip. Okay, zip to John, similar to the unshadowed tool we used previously. We're going to be using zip John tool to convert the zip file into a hash format that John is able to understand and hopefully crack. The basic usage is, and here we have our syntax. And we got our options, allow you to pass specific checksum. Okay, this is the zip file. Output director, we're using this to send the output from the list, and then an output file. And this is an example. Okay. We're then able to take the file we output from zip to John. In our example, we use the zip, okay? And as we did with Unshadow, feed it directly into John as we had made the input specifically for it. Okay, so this looks quite easy. You know what? Let's just open this. We have the, okay. Let's cancel that. What I'll do is also for just when I do the path, I'd rather have it in the root. So let's see if I could put it there. No, it's not it. Oh, how about if I take the folder? So I would have to input the folder. Oh man, interesting. Well, at least I know it's already in the root. We can't open it. Okay, well, good to know. Let's start. So let's clear this out. Okay, so let's start with John. Actually, this is quite similar to, I should have something very similar. Do I have a word list? Yes, I do. Word list rock u.text. And let's put these, I have my path here. I don't have the format. This is different, so let's remove the format. Yeah. Oh, and then root / and what is the name of our file? Secure zip. Let's try that. No, maybe, well, secure zip, then zippy and flag.txt. Okay, so root. Zippy, that lets me open it. Can I copy this and paste it here? I think we tried that and yeah, that didn't work. Okay. Let's give it a whirl anyways. So where's my terminal? Root, then we did zippy. Let me go back, root. No, it was secure. Let's try the secure dot. Was it secure zip? Secure dot. Okay, let me pause this. Okay, so I think I was missing a crucial step. First, we have to do this, the zip to John. So let's do that, zip to John. What are our options? allows you to specify options substitute. This shouldn't be necessary. Okay, so that's not necessary. The path, which I have it in root / secure dot zip, and then the output director, and let's name it. Let's see, we do zip underscore hash dot txt. Okay, let's see what we got. Awesome. Okay, so we got some input. Let's see. Okay, so we have some data here. Let me see if we input this and if we could open the secure file. If we paste that, I have a wrong password sippy flag. Okay, so that's not it. What other data we have? Secure, 3826 CRC. Okay. Okay, I just thought of something. Let's see if we could unzip the file. Unzip secure. No, wait, I may have to be. Let's go to CD. Let's go to our root. Okay, no, it's right here. Okay, so let's see what happens when we unzip secure.zip. Secure zip zippy flag text password. Okay, so we still don't have the password. Okay, so I figured out what we have to do is I cleared it. So we ran zip2 John. This is the path and this is the output. So since I already zip hash2, just to show you, we'll name it something else. ls. And I have it here, zip hash2. So now what I want to do is, so basically what we have to do is convert the file, the zip file, to a file that John the Ripper can understand. So we have here, now we have our flag. Okay, so we could just use this file that we just created and we could run John the Ripper. So I think we tried it before. Let's just do a few modifications. Secure, nope. There we go. Okay, so the word list, rock you, and we'll run this where the hash is located, which we did root zip dash hash 2.txt. Zip root zip hash 2.txt. Let's go, give that a whirl. Okay, and we have a password right here, pass123. 123. Excellent. So now we could try to unzip it. That if we go, we did not cap, but we once upon we did unzip. Yep. So let's unzip, secure zip, pass123. Excellent. And we're extracting. Okay. So let's see if we could view the context of that text file. Nope. Maybe we have to go to a CD. Secure zip. Nope. Okay, how do we get into the file now? What if I just open it? So we already know it's pass 1, 2, 3. There we go. So this is our flag. I may have to put it on the clipboard. Yep. Let's get this out of there. And we'll paste it. Submit.